Testing. Okay, this is for certification guide for IBM series AIX 5.3 test 222. We're on chapter 11.5. This goes through some ACLs and permissions. We are going to skip past ACL. ACLs in general, from my experience, is not heavily used within companies. ACL gives you a lot more control over um, the permissions of a file or directory. Um, but it's a little bit. It takes more to setting the permissions and changing the permissions. Generally, they use a typical permission with chamad or change ownership, change group with permissions. These are the typical uh, technique that they use for permissions. Okay, so we are going to jump down to section. Let's see. I thought it was something before that. I guess not. That's where it starts off with Chamad. Okay, section 5.5.2, 11.5.2. Before I start talking about Chamad, I want to show you something on the server. So let's look at the command ls. Now, if I do an ls space minus l, that gives me the same list of files. These are the list of files over here, and this is the permission of the file. Now, this is the actual permission of the file. The first dash represents that it's a file. If it's a D, that means that it's a directory. If it's an L, that means that it's actually a link, like a shortcut in Windows. Like like over here, bin is actually a link pointing to /user/bin, and lib is actually a link pointing to /user/lib. This is also a link, and you will see that all of the permissions are set on link. Link itself does not have any permission. It inherits the permission of the directory or file that it's pointing to. So it itself does not have any permissions. So let's take a look at a couple more things over here. This is the /temp file system. You will see this a T at the end. This is referred to as the sticky bit. We will talk about that a little bit more later. The next column over here, this is the owner of the file and directory, and this is the group ownership of the file and directory. So /opt is owned by the root user and the system group. And let's go to something else. Let's go to /home and let's look at some of the file directories over there. So over here, you will see that this directory called Sasuke is owned by the Sasuke user account, and he's part of the staff group. And you will see all of them are D. These are all directories. So let's go back to the material. Chamad allows you to change the permission of a file. Okay, now what is the permission of the file? Let me bring up a notepad. Now, permission of the file is three: read, write, and execute. I think and so everything has three level of permissions. It has a user level permission, it has a group level permission, and it has an all level permission. So every file that we will see will have three level of permission. Let's look back at the server. So let's see the permissions broken down. So let's take an example from the server. Whenever I select the whole line, it Putty is really nice. It puts it into the copy clipboard, and all I have to do is come over here and do a control V to paste it, and it puts it in there. It's really nice. Okay, like I was saying, all permissions are broken down into three groups of people. The first three, the first three is the owner. The second three is the group, and the third three is the everybody else. Uh, so so the owner has RWX, which means read, write, and execute. The group, which is the staff group, has read and execute permission. And everybody else also has read and execute permission. Okay, this is how you understand it. That the owner has read, write, execute. Staff has read and execute permission, and everybody else also has read and execute permission. That means that they can read and execute permission. Basically means is that they can read the file. If it's a script, they can actually run the script. For directory, if the execute permission is not set, you cannot go into that directory if the execute bit is not set. Now, what are these numbers? Okay, these numbers are basically how Unix uses to set the permission. Now, everything is that they use the octal of 7. Okay, execute is the 1 is equal to 1. Uh, write is equal to 2, and the read is equal to 4. So when you give a 1 value, it's going to set it to execute. 2 will set to write. 3 will set to 4 will set to read. Now, if it to 3, it would be 2 plus 1, which would be write and execute. If you set it to 5, it's going to be read 5, 4 plus 1, which will be read and execute. If you set it to 6, it will be 4 plus 2, will be read and write. 7 will be 4 plus 2 plus 1, be 7, read, write, and execute. This is how you basically set the permission. So so let's look at the permissions over here. If I do change mode or change mod, how some people pronounce it differently, others pronounce it differently. Now I want to change it of the Minotos directories permission. I want to change it to, let's say, 644, 641. Okay, so the 641, and then I would say, I would give the directory name, Minato, and hit enter. Okay, so this is before, and let's copy that. Let's copy that on the side somewhere over here so that we can look at it side by side. And this is when we gave the command. And now let's look at the permission ls minus l. Okay, and let's look at that over here. So you see how the permission changed. Okay, we set it to 6. 6 again means read and write, and so here is read and write. Okay, the next value was 4. 4 is equal to read, so the group has a value of read only. And then we set the third value. The third value is 1, so here is a 1. So the first value goes for the owner, second value goes for the group, and the third value goes for the all others. That's one way of changing the permissions on a directory or a file. It's the same way. There's another way that you can set the permission on a directory is by using um, characters and using the plus, minus, and equal sign. Okay, U is for the owner, G is for group, O is for all the others, and A is for all. So you can do either minus, remove the permission, add the permission, or set the permissions. Okay, so let's look at an example of doing that. Okay, let's use that Minito's example again. Let's say I want to give the owner I want to give the owner read, write, and execute also. So he already has um, read, write. I want to give him also execute. So I would do chain mod. That's the command, and I would say user, and I want to add execute, and then space and the name file or name of the directory, and hit enter, and that changes the permission. And let's check the permission. And you will see here again, once again, and now it has read, write, and execute. Okay, let's also set the group to read and execute like it was previously. Okay, so instead of doing the add, we'll use the equal to just to get a test of using the equal. Okay, so now if I want to give read and execute, this is how I would do it for chamad. Chamad group equals read and execute, and get the name of the directory or file, and enter ls minus l to check the permissions, and you will see read and execute over here. Whenever I select it, it puts it into the buffer. I right click it on my mouse, and that copies it, that pastes it. Right click paste. Yeah, right click pastes it, and on putty. That's the nice thing about putty. It's very easy to copy and paste. Okay, so we have done the plus and we have done the equal. We did. So let's look at the minus. So we added the r by setting it and using the equal sign. Now let's use the minus. Let's take away the execute bit from the other person. Okay. So now we would say chamad other o minus execute minuto. Enter. Okay, now you will see that the permissions have been removed. Okay, so that's a very simple way to set the permissions. You can use the octal numbers to set permissions, and these were the octal values set to. And here are very simple to do, and or you can use the letters in order to set the permissions. Now another and also what you can do is you can also change the ownership of a file. Um, like currently this is owned by user one. Okay, now there's a command called change owner OWN, and I can say change owner root and give a minuto, right click, enter, ls minus l, and now that directory is owned by root. It is not owned by user one anymore. Okay, so that's what the change owner command does. Or, and there's another command called ch group that changes the group. So let's change the group staff to systems. So let's put systems space, yeah. Explain kind of what happened to user one then. If you change the owner of Minuto, so what happened? So now minute owner Nothing happened to user one. This is that's user one directory. I didn't touch that. That's a directory for user one. I took the directory over here and I just changed the permission on this directory. User one is still there. User one's directory is still there. Yeah, there's a user one, there's a user one here. Okay, so all we're doing is changing the permission on directory. We're not touching the user accounts in themselves, just the permissions on them. So over here, we're changing the staff to systems. Okay, so change group, system, and then Mineto, the name of the directory, hitting enter. And very simple, ls minus l, and you will see now we changed permissions, we changed ownership, and we changed the group of this directory called Minato. So that would conclude this section on permissions. You should know how to change permission using the numbers, how to change permission using the letters on file and directory are exactly the same. Another cool thing before I finish, change owner, and if I use the user colon group name at the same time, I can change both the user and the group at the same time. Okay, you see, before it was root and system for Minato. Now I just changed it back to user and staff. So you can do that with the colon sign, user colon owner colon group and the name of the directory or file. That concludes it. Thanks. Bye bye.